human perspective.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Holfeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Indeed it is. It's Friday, and I tell you what, Schumann has been pulsating, and I've been feeling it. I don't know if you guys have. A lot of head pressure and headaches. But it could be lack of water or dehydration. Who knows? But I'm trying to drink a lot of water, trying to feel good. And spirit-wise, I feel great. It's just a little bit of head pressure. And I still got this crummy sty in my eye, which is just more of a nuisance than anything. But I'm alive. I'm here. I'm in good spirits. How are you guys doing tonight? Let's see here. Let's start off with some wingmakers and just know the phone lines are indeed open, you guys. Alrighty, you guys are going to go to the phone lines and guess who it is. Debbie Hazelton, welcome to the Friday Night Love Stream. How are you?
Yay! I am so happy to be here. I'm good. You know, it's a very interesting time. It is a very interesting time. I keep catching your videos. I heard what you did the other day, and I totally agree. I mean, I think this is the time we've been waiting for, although there are some really weird twists in it that I don't think, you know, are very nice or very fair. And I think the Mandela effect is kind of our teacher, though. I keep thinking that it is showing us, it is actually to show us that there are many different realities going on, and it's almost like the constraints or the boundaries they're sort of, I'm thinking the word porous, where there's this, maybe it's because of liquid consciousness, but I think there are so many different realities that you know, I was listening to, I like Simon Parks a lot, and I was listening to him doing a connecting consciousness, and the people all around the world, people are experiencing so many different things. I mean, to some, there's beautiful earth change and freedom and peace and music, and the birds are singing more strongly and louder, and the spring foliage is wonderful. And in other places, people are feeling more constrained, and they're suffering, and there's cruelty and horrible things going on. And I don't think we can blame and say, well, you know, it must be what they're thinking, or it must be, you know, I don't think we can judge. I mean, for me, it just feels like I need to be grateful and just keep being grateful and keep sending out love and healing. And, you know, at the same time, I don't know, it is sad that there are a lot of people suffering.
Indeed,
but,
yeah.
you know, I'm doing fine. We're doing okay. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, and I am so blessed. I'm so thankful right now. And, you know, looking into the work of the Law of One, it talks about how, you know, when we come into the world, we have like catalysts that's sort of, I guess the picture I got in my mind was sort of catalysts that come along and they sort of increase in intensity if you don't get the picture, you know what I mean? It's like, it might start with like your car breaking down or something, but it might, you know, if you just completely ignore all those higher self, you know, little things that's urging you towards your path, then greater and greater catalysts can come along. And I think I've got this picture in my mind that a lot of people have just put it off, you know what I mean? And I'm totally one of those procrastinators. If this had happened 3 years ago, I'd be right with them, you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's just having that compassion and remembering what it was like when we first woke up, because I think a lot of people are going to wake up super duper speed. I mean, this is like fast track stuff as stuff unfolds. So we need to try to really not be judgmental and try to be understanding with, because it's so mind blowing when that happens. You know, your whole
Somebody
paradigm.
I knew a long time ago used to call them spiritual flat tires. I don't think that's how I experience it, but they called it like a spiritual flat tire that would stop and, you know, stop you and wake you up. And I think this is something that's presenting all of us with opportunities for reset. And I have more experiences lately, especially when I get up in the morning, where I feel like it's almost like I'm being picked up and put into a different space from where I was the day before, particularly if there was anything bothering me. And I sometimes think, wow, you know, my team is just determined. They're going to keep bringing me forward, and they're going to keep protecting me, and they're going to keep bringing me to a place where I'm kept in a better place. Because sometimes I'll have something going on, you know, like, oh, I don't like that so-and-so said this or did that, and I don't know what I'm going to do about that. And I will feel it taken away from me in spite of me, and I'll feel more loving and forgiving, even when I think I want to just chew on it a little longer, you know. And
right.
so It's funny, and I find myself thinking that instead of meditating, that I am being meditated. I am being meditated in a way where even if I'm not trying to do it, something or that great team is doing it to me to keep me where they want me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Doesn't that sound really weird? I mean, it's incredible though.
It is, and it's kind of it was sort of what I was getting in that last message about we're stepping more into our higher self and having that greater connection and becoming more of that higher self with just our connectivity to higher source and moving up in that. And then, I was like, I think it was the day after I put the video out or something, or made the video, I was watching Cryon, and he had just put a video out. And he was saying the same thing. He was talking about the way the energies are right now and moving more into our higher self. I'm paraphrasing it, but it was basically confirmation. And I love that because you'll hear somebody else talking about something, and they might even explain it a little bit different way, but you feel like, wow, they got that same sort of thing I got. Yeah.
Validation. I keep feeling like, the spirit or the source has its timetable, and it is going to rebalance everything, and rebalance the earth. It's going to take care of all this, and it needs us to be in place. I remember somewhere in the Bible it says, "Stand ye still." Like this is not our fight. This is God's fight, although I don't really like to think of it that way. I don't think it has to be a fight, but it's spirit, just kind of moving through everything to transform things so that maybe there isn't such a war between good and evil. And we just need to, I feel like we just need to, as much as possible, just stay in that higher space. And I don't think that means saying everything is wonderful all the time and or saying that, there's nothing that bothers us or, I have times where I just hear something and I just start crying or times where I know I'm making a definite decision that I don't want to keep doing certain things or being around certain people or certain practices because I know that something in it all just doesn't resonate with me. And so, it's still work.
Right. Yeah, definitely. But that's funny because on the hills of, I should have probably put it in because it came through in meditation. I probably should have put it in that last video, but it was on the next page and it was already getting kind of long. But my higher self was sort of leading me more into the idea of being an outlier. These statistical anomalies, when you think about it, so the people are predictable, through fear or anger or whatever, and things can be, and I got this picture in my mind of sort of a cowboy like firing his gun like over here to make the cattle go the other way, or sort of just, it was very, it's very broad, and it was sort of just putting the fear out there and pushing people a certain way, and how you become a statistical outlier when you can step out of the fear and the anger and all of those emotions of what's going on. Then you're not easily controlled. So it was like, the more you're into those emotions, the more controllable you are, So it's like susceptible to being controlled.
So instead of reacting to them.
Right.
Instead of reacting, maybe being very intentional. Yeah, I had somebody last night who was mad at me for something, and I moved into validating and giving a sense of, I wouldn't like that either, and, empathy. And I've been thinking about all this talk about vaccination and forced vaccines and all this, and there's a part of me that's just like, ooh, yuck. I would not want that. I would not want anything forced, and particularly medical kinds of stuff. And I've heard people say, I heard Simon Park said, well, if they come after me, they're going to get quite a fight on their hands. And something tells me that, for me personally, fighting is an old way. Fighting is what I used to do, that is not what I should do. If I shouldn't even be thinking about that like that. I should be thinking about, just more talking to the talking to the child. I find myself talking about the child in all kinds of people, but talking about the part of a person who would want to do that and trying to appeal to the part of them that, like, are you sure you really want to, is this how you really want to treat people? Is this really what you want to do? Instead of, like, you're not doing that. No, but really trying to just come at it from more of a loving place.
Ooh, I love that. I think I'm going to talk to Eileen about that. That sounds, what if people would just be it would be using the type of technology they're supposed to be using in reverse, Think about this. Voice to, brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's...
Well, I heard on this...
Sorry, go ahead. There's a delay.
Well, on the Connecting Consciousness and a couple other videos I've seen lately, they've talked about how they think that we should really be starting to resist, and we should start, standing up and confronting and saying no. And I'm thinking, yeah, I think that's true. Like, I don't think we should just stand by, and particularly, the thought of if some army came in and took people around me away or anything like that, that would, upset me horribly. But I got the sense that there was one place where somebody said there was a demonstration going on, and these awful, like, I don't know, mean-looking military people came in with all kinds of big, like, I don't know what they came in with, but to break it up. Yeah, and to try to intimidate them. And somebody else, maybe Eileen told this story, and somebody came out, and maybe it was an ex-Marine, and just really talked them out of being so mean, and talked to them in such a way that it broke up, and they went home, and the protesters ended up just kind of, being more with each other, and, and probably something that felt more soothing. But, right. It feels to me like we may have to stand up, but the way we stand up is probably really important, not to be just fighting. And I know I need to hear that just as much as anybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like if they come into my sphere of influence, there's no way I'm getting. That's just me from my.
I know.
I'll take my chances with swords.
Yeah. I keep thinking, I'll stop myself when I get in that, because I get a little scared. I've heard some awful things of how people have been mistreated and how they feel like they never were in Denmark so mistreated, and now they feel like they are, and Australia, horrible things happening. And I start to think, oh my God, what if? And then I think, but wait, I've got this team and I've got this ironclad protection. Why would we be brought, Magenta Pixie said this, why would I be brought this far for all this mistreatment to suddenly occur and for all of us to lose all that? Why would we be brought that far?
Yeah, I didn't hear her talking about that, but what I was shown is that this stuff is so flippin' extreme that it's causing people that normally sleep right through stuff like this to really take note, and they're like, and then, it's so perfect. You'll understand this coming from, like, knowing the whole Christian world and everything, but they're talking about putting this ink in it, like, that you can read, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so perfect. It's so extreme that people, especially the Christians that are all about, looking out for any kind of mark of the beast stuff, right? There's no way they're going to get something with some ink in their arm or whatever, because it's just too close. Even whether it is or not, to me, it is almost like that's because they're trying to say you got to have it. That's why you got to have it on there to see if you want to travel, and then is it going to go to buying and selling and stuff like that? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why it's set up that way, because it's perfectly set up for people to be like, what the heck? And they'll never. Any civilian or ex-police or military that I know, retired or otherwise, there's no way they'd let our country go to that. They'd have a real problem on their hands if they tried to do something like that.
Well, I don't know what this thing is we're supposed to get on our ID, this 5-pointed star that's governmental that we have to have before October. And I don't really like it, but if we want to fly, apparently we have to have that. But
To show
I
that you've
know
been
that
to show you've been vaxxed?
I don't think so.
Oh.
No, because the vaccine isn't out. It's got to be by October. This thing on a license or ID card, there's this new thing that has to be on there before you can fly by October. I mean, after October, if you don't have it on there, then you can't fly. And that they talked about sometime last year, and it's a little creepy to me. I don't know what that is. You know, that's. I hope somebody on the call knows more about it. That would be interesting, or in the chat. But I think, I mean, if it would be terrible if they ever decided to try to, make that whole thing mandatory, that whole vaccine thing. I think they really would have. But when Trump got in, I didn't vote for him. And I'm not saying that I think people ought to, but I think he's in there for a reason. And when he got in there, I remember having this distinct feeling that here we are in the 21st century, and it is so time to get past people having power over people. I mean, it is just so time, and it's like we're seeing the worst of it. Yeah. We're seeing the worst examples of it, and so much manipulation, and this whole virus thing. I mean, and there are people so traumatized by it. I mean, maybe I should be, but I'm not. No, I'm not. I just don't. I mean, my friend Des had the flu, and twice this year she had something. And I mean, I don't mean to sound braggadocious, but I stayed okay, and she got over it in record time, and it wasn't the virus. I did have another friend that suddenly died. Oh my God! It was just like one day she went to the hospital, and the next day she was gone, and it wasn't the virus. It was cancer they found in her body, and so I think there are some really weird, very quick things that are happening. But wow!
And I think that's all part of the design too. It's almost like an exfiltration. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not from our point of view. From our point of view, it's like, oh my God, we lost this person, but like. From this higher perspective, it's like they just exited the game. They went back to the lobby, so to speak, and they're like watching from the other side and waiting to come back in, Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and helping, helping and it seems like that veil is a lot thinner. And I mean, I find myself knowing things. My friend Des said the same thing yesterday, knowing things. Like, I don't know how I know that, but there it is. It just comes through how something's going to turn out or some information. I mean, it's incredible. There's so much there.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
That's what the telepathy had really, where somebody start talking about what you were thinking about, and you're both trying to figure out, like, who thought of it first, and did we think of it together? But clearly we were both thinking out of the blue about something that wasn't related to the previous topic, and then, bam, there it is. It's like... There's that connection, but I've also noticed a few precog things, like you're saying. Like, I could have accurately predicted, like, the minute a message was received, and what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was, but it was like right before it happened, I knew it was going to happen, and it was just mind-blowing.
Yep. Oh, and I take those and, like, number things like 111 or 1111 or 555, 444, any of those things. I take those as little, like, hi, how you doing? Everything's okay. Everything's right on time. I don't need to go look up what the numbers mean or anything like that. I just take it as little signs, like, hi, we're here. Yeah, you're in the right place.
I love that. That's exactly what
so
I do.
Good.
Yep, little signposts to let you know that, hey, we're here and you're on track,
Yeah, it's so good. I'm so glad that you're doing well. I'm glad you're doing BQH. I'm doing it every once in a while. I've been so busy with this new job that I got, which is another thing, because I kept writing about wanting a new job, and I got it, and I've been able to keep working while I'm at home, and every now and then doing a session too. And,
very nice. Yeah, I enjoyed.
I love.
For those who don't know, that Debbie Hazelton gave me my first session. So.
Yay!
And it was wonderful. Yeah,
Oh,
and it just came back to me.
Mine.
It came back the other day about that painting. You remember? I went into that painting that I created as a child, and it was showing me how when we create within artwork, we're actually creating for real. We just don't see it. So we're creating it in our mind, and that's a real place that I actually got to visit one of my childhood paintings, Bob Ross paintings.
I loved it when you were in the place with all the animals. That was so beautiful. The presence of all those animals.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just so beautiful, and yeah, it's just beautiful work.
Yeah, it really is. It's been, for me doing it, I've had the coolest synchronistic things happen, like telepathic things that, like I was just talking about, have happened, like where it's almost like they'll send you a picture file. They're the higher self of the client, and then you get a picture in your mind, and it's like you don't realize you just kind of got a picture in your mind. You figure you thought of it, but really it can send you it, and you'll see the picture, and it just comes to you just like that, and it's amazing. It's so cool because
I love it.
Real experience with supernatural stuff, and it's so exciting.
Yeah, and more and more I tell people that's the thing that's so incredible. I mean, life is, many people living on the surface think that we just are our five senses, and if something's missing, then we're less than, and we need those five senses, but spirit is just everywhere beyond all that. I mean, spirit is in the unseen. Spirit is the moving experiences. Spirit is the still small voice within. It's just I just feel like I got a head start. I really do. I used to not think of it quite that way, or I would talk about vision in the mind, but spirit is really in the unseen. Just like what you're talking about, the painting that you were with inside, and wow, it's just incredible.
And it took me a second to realize that I was thinking, wow, this place looks familiar, and then it all hit me at once. It's wild.
Wow, I love that. Well, I'm loving your shows. Every now and then I go to look for where to make comments, and it says the comments are moved, and I don't know where they are.
Yeah, they're up top now. They're much closer to the top. So, yeah, I don't know why they say stuff like that. It's like you get used to now. Facebook. See if I can find them. Facebook's changed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I already didn't know where anything was. Now, they've moved it.
Yeah.
So the few things I knew where it was, I've got to go re-find them again.
Oh, I know what that's like. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just great to hear. I enjoyed Kim last week, and of course, I always enjoy you and Eileen, and it's just great. I mean, I'm not in here. I haven't talked to you in a while, but I do check in, and the community is just growing, and everybody's just wonderfully beautiful and tight and wise, and it's just a beautiful community.
It really is, and I'm so honored to be a part of it, and with people like you, and just so many great people,
Yeah, absolutely, with the light getting brighter and brighter.
Yeah, actually in here shifting it all together, and it is a really exciting time.
I think so. I know, I find myself not saying that to everyone everywhere, but to me, I think it really is exciting. I mean, some of it is, I think, pretty stupid, and what people are doing, and some of it is sad, and yet ultimately, wow, I think it's an incredible time.
Yeah, it really is. So do you, what have you been up to besides you got the new job? Are you doing your radio still?
Well, yeah, I'm the managing director of ACB Radio, and we have 6 streams, and we're getting ready. We're right now in the middle of a state virtual convention this weekend, and then we're getting ready for a virtual national convention instead of being in person, where we go to a different state every year, and usually, we're broadcasting and there's a ton of things going on for a week. So instead, we're doing it virtually, and it's going to be 8 12-hour days on 4 streams with a virtual exhibit hall and virtual tours, and oh my gosh. So we're working on producing all this pre-recorded material, and we have our exhibitors and sponsors to get all their recordings together, and I mean, there's just so much work to do. It's incredible, but I'm grateful to have it, and I'm grateful to be working with some really cool people. And some of us are like, oh, we can't wait for convention to be over now because it's so much work, and yet, wow, we know we're going to be very excited to know what we did accomplish when it's over.
Absolutely,
so,
yep.
We're doing that, bringing new programming and reorganize. I'm the managing director, so it's more like being a project manager, program director, overseeing just everything.
Wow, that sounds like a big job.
Super. It is, but I'm super grateful to have it, and at the same time, I'm trying to get around to playing my harp a little more and learning that and playing it more. I'm playing it in my mind, and when I sit down and practice, I'm like, that playing in my mind is where it's at, because that's it's like rehearsing in our mind. So
it totally is, yeah.
Get back into but I got all new equipment for this job. I got a new mixer and a new computer and big old sound card for it, and so it's kind of fun, all this equipment. I think you'd have a ball with all that.
Yeah, I'm already getting excited thinking about it.
I know, like that dream you had. Of being there with me, being on the air. That would be very cool.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be very cool. Well, I need to get back on my channel more. I'd love to have you on there.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, totally. We should hang out on there.
It would. All right. Well, we'll make that happen. I would love to. Oh gosh, I've missed you. It's so good to hear your voice.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah, they're even saying that in the chat. Everyone's saying hi.
Yeah.
You have a very calm presence.
Yay, I love you all. And I'm so excited about this Mandela Effect conference.
Yeah,
wow.
It's all good. It's going to be online this year, so.
That's very cool. And Regina Meredith, I remember her when she was back on Wisdom Television, and I would really love to hear more of her story. I think it's fantastic. She's the keynote speaker. That is just very cool.
Yeah, it just happened that Cynthia Sue Larson was on her program right at the time we were organizing it, and so she got to ask her face to face, and she accepted. So she's gonna pull in sort of everybody's talks together and kind of, really take the keynote thing to a new level. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what she comes up with. She's on.
She's not still on Gaia, though, is she?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, she's one of the people that helped start it,
left.
and that surprised me. I was like, oh, really? Wow.
I thought she left Gaia very quietly. I don't know. Maybe she is still with them, but I thought maybe she left very quietly with all that.
Maybe she
craziness.
has. I don't know. Yeah.
But she seems to be one that they're just not pushing around. She's doing her thing, and of course I love Cynthia Sue Larson. Oh my God, she's just so wonderful. Oh, wonderful.
There's so many people that I feel bad that they were so alone for so many years, and then finally we're catching up with them. And
yeah.
They don't have to feel so crazy anymore,
and, and isn't it great, for somebody to suddenly get I was alone, but there really wasn't anything wrong with me. I keep wanting people to get that sense that, what if all the angst, because I think a lot of times people get into feeling angst from all the extra energy that's pouring into the universe, and they take it in and think, oh, it must be me, and crazy configurations with the stars and just different other things, entities and things that are waking up, and people sometimes just internalize that. And I keep thinking, I just want people to know, wow, what if you wake up and you find that there really wasn't anything wrong with you. It was just what you fell into kind of believing along the way and thinking you were alone or not knowing, but really nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, and I often get that picture of us sort of being out in the wilderness and then coming to this clearing where with a round of trees and the group of us there, like, hey, I found this group of people out in the wilderness,
Yeah.
There's a little divine gathering out in nature. So I kind of feel like that. I get that picture in my mind quite a bit because it does feel like you're like lost in the woods when you leave your religion and no one else wants to listen to anything you have to say about that. And, you feel that drive to follow your heart, you know what I mean? And you wonder why others don't have it at times. And then you get to this point where you're like, oh my gosh, there are other people that have gone through the same exact thing,
There are, and we don't need anyone's permission, and there's nothing wrong with any one of us for feeling something really different, even if no one else understands it. In fact, it's so important to just know what that is and listen and follow and respect it, rather than thinking, oh gosh, I must not be okay, and there must be something wrong with me, and and to find that like-mindedness. Oh, I wish I could have been with you all at ECETI.
Oh, I know.
What was the terrain like there? Is it kind of a terrain?
It's not perfectly level, but it's not bad,
No? Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I mean, I guess people were camping, but yet they have inside places, and I mean, is it a fairly rugged kind of place, or or rustic rather?
Yeah, they do have paths places, but they also have little ponds and stuff like that. So if you ventured off back into the place, you would want to have somebody with you. But there is like the main area where there's like the dining place, and you can get your bearings around there pretty easily, get used to it. And then right outside is like a smoking area where people hang out sometimes there. Whether they smoke or not, they just hang out there because you can see the mountain, and so a lot of people just kind of gather there and talk, or out further. So yeah, there's a pretty big area. Really, just the lodging is where you might have to venture off somewhere. As far as the main buildings where you will go and register or go and dine, all of that sort of in the same general area.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see James Gilliland out there a lot with Corey Good lately in some YouTube videos, and it looks to me like they're kind of communicating pretty well, and like Corey's kind of got his own thing going on and has been just forging ahead with some stuff.
Yeah. But that main area, I was just thinking about, like, late at night, it's like pitch black dark, and, we don't have any problems stumbling over or, holes that you step in, that kind of thing that can be jarring. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good in that whole area right there, which is nice,
Yeah,
I bet they could even have those hover rounds right around out there if somebody had one of those.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have fires going or something? Well,
they have a fire pit. They do have a fire pit by James's house. That's where everybody smokes. But I think they do a bonfire out there, but there was like a burn order, a no burn order when we were there. So I'm not sure where they normally do the big stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I just love that everybody got together. That was the one thing I missed being there for that. Wow. maybe sometime, but I know we all will, wherever it is. I mean, I don't feel like we're totally in 3-dimension anyway, so we'll all, meet up in another one.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it because of this whole issue going on, but we were wanting to go to, Savannah or Tybee Island, Georgia, this year in like August or September or somewhere in there, East Coast.
Yeah.
So, and you're in Alabama, was it, or?
Yep.
Okay.
I wouldn't, maybe I could get to Savannah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long all this continues or what is what, but,
Yeah, that's why we haven't planned it anymore, because it's just like, we don't even know if, what the rules are going to be or anything like that.
Yeah. Wow. But everybody in your family's good and...
Yeah, everybody's great. So, I don't know, are things going to start getting back to normal soon? I think some places are starting to open up.
Yeah, they are, and then some people are really afraid of that, and, and what, I don't know. But at the same time, I mean, I some people say, well, I don't want to hear about the new normal. Well, I think there are going to be a lot of good things that come out of this, but I think there are going to be some real changes that will stick, like, maybe some doctors doing video more often before in person, or maybe more businesses doing curbside, continuing.
Right, that is pretty strange.
Yeah, well, some of it's kind of cool as far as, I mean, if they do, and then at least if it's an option and you want to just go pick up something, like one of my friends said he ordered something from Best Buy and then he went by and they brought it out to him and that was it, I'm like, wow, that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, think about the time people would save, because then they're looking at it at home instead of taking up the salesman's time, and then they know what they want, and then he's spending less time going and getting it and taking it out to their car than he would have sitting there showing them the TVs or whatever they are, right?
Yeah.
And then with stuff like that, they have to carry it out anyway, so, you know what I mean? So might as well just take it right out there.
Yeah. Well, and it might streamline a lot of things. I mean, like Walmart grocery pickup. I mean, I really like that. I haven't used it as much lately, but Shipt, SHIPT, I like for some things, and I've still gone out though. I've gone out to the store a number of times. I know people that are so afraid to go out, but I'm like, I gotta get out. Come on.
I'm the same way, and I've seen a lot of light workers like that too. That's like actually been getting out a little bit more just because they got that rebellious bone in them,
Yes, exactly. Yep.
You're like, oh, plus all the sorry, I was going to say all the people, everyone else is staying home. You get the roads all open to yourself now,
Oh yeah, people say, oh, no, not as much pollution, and not as much traffic. Oh, nice. That's really nice. Wow.
And many people are taking advantage of it, doing more art or planting stuff. Shiny's got this whole garden. She's been sending me pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like so busy. She's like, I've been out there all she can, and then like it was raining, and she was doing like, painting and stuff on the inside and stuff. So, and there's a lot of that going on. I see a lot of people residing their house or fixing things or just staying busy because people get stir crazy, So they got to do something. So
I heard Shiny last week. I heard Shiny last week. What a sweetheart. Oh, my God. Just what a sweet person. But, yeah, creativity. Yes, indeed. That's a wonderful thing. I just think it's great. And then other people are so upset by it all. But, I think, hey, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Many great opportunities.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, I mean, and Shiny's young. She's like 30, 31 or something like that. So it's so encouraging to see. I think her little sister went to school with my sister, or my daughter. And so it's like, you know, she's just of this younger generation. And it's so encouraging, you know, to see how, you know, even the babies. Have you dealt with any of the babies? They are so smart and so different than we were as kids, you know. Tapped in.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Just so much more awake, and yeah, it's so exciting. It's so exciting. Yeah.
When I was talking to the Twin Flame Divine Fire Radio people, they were telling me about there was this, I don't know, I think it was like 2 years old or something, and he had saw them doing energy work with a stone, and he grabbed one of the stones and started walking around it and holding it over their body while they were laying there, like doing energy work. And he's only like, I don't know, 2 or 3 or something. That was funny.
Wow.
Really cool.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, and are you, like, I look back on a lot of things that I felt, and I realized that I really knew a lot more than I thought I knew early on. Do you have that sense? Do you look back on remembering things or things? That's fascinating.
Also coming full circle around to exactly the way I used to believe about something, but completely refined and differently. So like growing up in Christianity, it was always like everything's going to work out perfect. God's got his plan and all of this, and I've come all the way back around to that, but it's just thought of differently. You know what I mean? It's
I think that's beautiful. I think that's, that makes sense. That's beautiful. Yeah, and you know, I mean, if the purpose of dreams, in a way, are, especially if it's a reoccurring dream, to get different perspectives, well, you know, I mean, that sounds like some of the purpose of different incarnations and all kinds of different experiences, so that we get different perspectives. So, you know, different belief systems. Yeah, same kind of belief, but new ways of understanding, new ways of putting it together and making sense out of it. And I mean, I think that's beautiful. I go back to that story about, you know, somebody who saw somebody cutting the ends off of a ham and putting it in the pan, and somebody said, well, why did you cut the ends off? And they said, well, my mom always did it. And they go to the mom, well, why did you cut why do you cut the ends off? Well, yeah, because my mom did it. And they keep tracing it back. Well, and finally somebody says, oh, well, because it was the only way it would fit in the pan, you know? But when we take something and we put a new understanding on it, it isn't just, because that's what I was told. It's, it makes sense to do this now in a different way. It makes sense in a different way, and
That's funny. There's actually this little experiment that they run where they have this waiting room, and as people come in, there's one person in the room to start, and he's sitting there, and there's a ding, and every time there's a ding, he stands up. And so as they introduce more and more people, everybody just follows this first guy, and then that first guy leaves, and they all continue to stand up when it dings every time, and then sit back down when it dings. And nobody ever told anybody to do that. They were strictly just following the crowd. It's amazing, isn't it?
Oh, that's funny. That is so funny. I'm also fascinated on how people that don't know each other start to play, or how kids and adults, or, you know, babies with adults, and animals and other animals, or animals and people, the language of play. And it's funny to be in a waiting room and people find something to make humor about, whatever it is. It could be a sign, or the way somebody comes to the window and says it's so-and-so's turn, or something, and they end up developing this language and this understanding, and it just becomes a way that just sort of ripples through there for the next little while. And I'm always fascinated with that, of how people play. That's just, and like you, But I've had that experiment about the ding. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny to
That's
see that.
good.
And they were actually doing to see who would sort of follow the crowd and weed out those who didn't stand. So only one lady didn't stand, but they knew she wouldn't be good for suggestions or whatever the thing they were doing was. But I thought it was an interesting, and you know, and I wonder, I'm like, I don't know. If I was one of the last people and the whole room was standing up, I probably would have just not asked anybody and just did it, you know. But nobody would have known why they were doing it anyway.
And it's funny to ask, and I bet a lot of people said, well, I stood up because they did, and I stood up because, you know, everybody else did.
But how often do we do this, you know? And that's sort of what was shown to me about the whole predictability thing. And with fear and anger, it's like we're way more controllable if we're predictable. And that's being in the emotion of all of the stuff they spew out at us to try to make us afraid or angry or whatever.
True. Yep. Yeah, or somebody's getting mad and then somebody else decides, well, yeah, you know, yeah, and they get mad too. And, oh, gosh, that mind control, you know,
it's like starting a little fire and then letting it go off on its own, really, you know. So much it's done like that. It's like it's a chain reaction.
That's a good point. Yep. Yeah. And, you know, it happened to me about a week ago, and I noticed it's always in one room in this house. And I noticed that if there's any disagreement or argument, it seems like it's most often in the kitchen in this house. And somebody said something, and somebody else said something, and then, you know, and all of a sudden words just, you know, words were flying. And I'm thinking later on, well, maybe there was some need that energy needed to be diffused, because it did seem like a whole lot of stuff just, there was like a reset between all of us, you know. It was an interesting kind of a reset. But it's interesting that it's always in that one room where it happens. And my friend said, yeah, it used to be that there was a lot of fighting and stuff in that room. So she said, I'm going to do a whole lot more smudging. And, you know, so interesting, you know. Energy is fascinating that way, and feng shui really and all that.
Yeah. And you can feel it when you come into a room. Even if everybody tries to act like nothing was just happening, you can feel the tension. Yeah. Yeah.
Feel the tension or feel the peace. Yeah. Oh, God. I remember one time I went into this restaurant, and I walked in, and I turned around, and I walked out, and I told my friend, I said, I don't know what it was about that place, but I just couldn't go in there. And he said later on, he says, oh, remember when you said that? I said, yeah. And he said, well, there was a shooting in there like 5 minutes later. And I'm like, oh, God. I'm glad I didn't stay. Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm glad I didn't stay. Wow.
Listening to your higher self. Get out. Okay, I'm out of here.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Wow. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Debbie, and thank you so much for taking the time. And I always feel so uplifted after talking to you.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love talking with you. And you know, a couple weeks I tried to get in and either saw that you were busy or I was busy, and I thought, well, this time I got the notification that YouTube was, you know, that you were just starting, and I was like, ooh, let me let you know I need the number rather than go into the computer and blah, blah, blah. Because the description doesn't always show it. I don't know. It shows a bunch of links. So I just thought, well, yeah. So I was really glad you could give it to me, and I got in here, and yay, I love you all. Hello, everyone. And I can go back and look at the chat like Eileen does. Yes, indeed.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Debbie. I love you so much. Thank you for all you do. You really are a light in the community.
Oh, thank you. I love you. And I'm going to find a time and we'll have you on my channel. That would be absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it would. Awesome.
All right. Well, Much love, everyone, and we'll be in touch, indeed.
Lots of love to you. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Street.
Unbiased and on the fence.
All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Actually, if anybody in the lobby wants to talk, be sure to hit *2 and raise your hand. So I did want to take this opportunity to let you guys know if you do want to get set up, notified, go to the email list at IMEC, that's IMEC.world, WORLD. And if you have any issues getting on there, some people have had issues, and we're having our webmaster look at it, just certain devices. So if you try to get on there and you can't, you might want to try a different device, or just try back later, possibly.
Hello, Shane. How are you doing? This is Ruth Amaya. It's going well. What a wonderful show. Thank you so much for this channel and for everything you do with this community. It's just so wonderful to have this number to call in your show. It creates so much light for everyone. Isn't that amazing? Once you start doing something that you really love, you forget about aches and pains and the whole world around you. It just seems to just get much better all of a sudden, no matter what it is. Absolutely, and it's just like when we say, not on my reality, we start creating a new reality all of a sudden, and things get better all the time.
Wait, you guys can't hear me? Sorry about that. I don't know how I got muted, but they could hear you at least. Sorry, continue, Ruth.
No problem. No, I was just saying how even in the smallest things, we can create our own reality and we can change our surroundings. Sometimes we can change the events that are happening in the world. We can't change how others think, or with this virus, it's very clear that there is not much we can do to change what's happening outside ourselves, but we can definitely make a big difference within our own environment. And just by not accepting it to be part of our day-to-day reality, I think we can make a difference, just by affirming that we'll be okay, that our family's going to be okay, that something good should come at the end of all these different things that are happening around us.
Yeah, it's easy to focus on the negative stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it just seems like lately, I've been hearing this everywhere, and I've heard it on your channel a few times. It's just that we really need to hold our light, and even hold the light for those who are not doing so well, because there's nothing really much else that we can do. And it seems like if you are just going within and doing your own work and creating your own light, you're really making a big difference, because by you staying put and by you just bringing in light for you and those around you, you are really making a big difference, even though it may not be something that is tangible for everyone else to see, but you will feel it and you will see it. And as you get better at holding your light, you bring light with you wherever you go. So you are changing your surroundings, you are changing the environment with and all around you. And that's how we make a difference, really. And I've been hearing so many fear things happening everywhere. And I was just thinking the other day, we almost putting aside the law of attraction, and it seems like this is actually the right moment for that to be practicing more, because what whatever is it that we are trying to fight against, we are actually manifesting more of that. So what we resist will persist in our reality. So we have to kind of like say, wait a minute, if something is giving you that negative vibe, if something is giving you that feeling that makes you uncomfortable, that's when you really need to go within and hold your light and just not fight against it, but sort of like be a better person yourself. Do whatever you can to just keep shining your light, and don't let that dim the work that you're doing, because it's so hard to bring yourself to a peaceful, loving place. And it is just so easy to kind of like lose it in a split second. So it's hard, We were talking about the masks the other day. You were talking about people wearing masks, and if somebody doesn't wear a mask, everybody just gives them that dirty look. Like, whoa, you're going to kill the whole city because you do not wear your mask. So just wear your mask. So, don't be the trigger for negativity. This is how I see it. I really don't like it, but if I need
good
to go
advice.
to the store, I'll just wear I just put the mask on so that I don't trigger negativity in other people. Just as I get in the car, and I take it off at the moment I get in the car, and just move on with my day. But it seems like from your video yesterday, I was so touched by it, because a lot of the information is the same things I've been feeling and thinking. And it's just another reminder that pretty much all of us are connected within the same light, in a spiritual level. We are all pretty much in tune with the same ideas and the same, awareness of what's happening. And I do believe we are creating altogether the group consciousness. That is so important, because the ones that are in tune, the ones that we're trying to connect with spirit, but we're also connected in that group level, can be so much more powerful than those that are just sort of like existing and moving through this planet without pretty much knowing their purpose. And I think we have found the purpose, and we've been blessed that way.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like our job to be the good example, sort of like by just trying to be beacons of light, we can really, really change others without even saying anything. Sometimes when you try to, what we call awake somebody else, all we do is upset them and push them farther away. But if we are just behave like we should behave and have our lights and be loving, just send them love, when people are just being angry, just send them love and let them be, and that will reflect back. And when they see these, that's when they're really triggered, because there's wait a minute, how come she's not going through a rough time and we have the same life experience? So that's, I think, for me at least, that's what I'm gathering, and it's what I'm seeing, that when I was trying to tell people about spirituality or about waking up or, Mandela effect, everybody was like, some people got upset, others ran away, others looked at me funny. I decided, I'll just be the best version of myself. And as they see this, they come and they ask you questions and they say, wait a minute. Or, sometimes when I've been getting a lot of, as you were saying, precognition ideas, and I will mention something, or I will say something, and a week later, a news comes about it, or, something else on the radio or whatever. And they're like, wait a minute, how did you know this? I'm like, I don't know, I just did.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. And that's cool. It's like just a knowing, and it's a strong knowing. It's strong enough that it stands out as like, why do I know that this is going to happen? And then to see it happen, it's really cool because I didn't really I expected telepathy to come online way better than precognition because time seems so real to us that it's hard to imagine that we can foresee something. And it's only been a few minutes for me thus far, so. Nothing like tomorrow this is going to happen or anything like that. It's always like within the next few minutes, or the 2 or 3 times that it's happened. So I don't know. I think it's a really exciting time for us to play with it, and especially if you have kids, to try to have them guess the number you're thinking of, or just do little things like that to see, because you might have a really intuitive grandchild or child that might just be able to pick right up on it. These new kids, these kids are just so amazing with what they're able to do and how intuitive they are. And I think a lot of it can just go missed because nobody's like really stimulating that part of them. Many times we're like, be serious, or stop, get out of your imagination, or whatever, with kids, instead of just allowing them to, be a kid.
I know, and it's like, and that is exactly what happened. All children are born connected with souls. They're all knowing. They're always happy. Nothing bothers them. And when you have a toddler or a baby, sometimes you see them staring into space as if they were seeing something, or they are not afraid to tell you the truth, and so they are just extremely connected. And as adults, we sort of like make them not to be that way. We pretty much dim their lights. And I think now everybody's pretty much getting so much stronger emotionally. People, I think, I know that I try to be positive about this whole quarantine, and I try to think of, what good can come out of it, because it's all I can do. There's not much else I can do. And I was thinking, I am in the DC metro area, and traffic congestion in this area is horrible. You're talking 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening, where people are just being miserable. There's road rage. There's all kinds of unhappenings going on. Well, just by that being lifted from the area, I feel like there is so much goodness happening. Like all that negativity all of a sudden is gone. People are home with their families. For so long, people say, I don't have time to do the things I like. I don't have time to spend with my family. I don't have time to be with my loved ones. I don't even enjoy the house that I pay so much money to live in. Guess what? Here we are. We asked for it.
Right.
Maybe it did not come the way we wanted, but we had asked for all these things for so many years, and people stuck in traffic cursing everybody out, wishing they were no longer stuck in traffic, or wishing they didn't want to go to a job that they hate.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
Here we are.
That's beautiful.
So, it's a reality. It's truth, and this is almost like a catalyst that is changing so much, so fast. And I think we just hope for the best, and just like they say, make the best of it. Make it. Let's all manifest a good reality, a good outcome from all of this, because we can do this. We are all powerful. We are all connected, and as we connect within, so everybody's meditating more, which is wonderful. So that is giving us, I think that's why there's so much intuition going on, all these telepathy is happening. I see a lot more people getting their, BQH or QHHT happening, and that connection right there, where you're synchronizing heart and mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's bringing in all these precognition and all these different things that we already have it in ourselves, but they're dormant, so we are waking all
Mm-hmm.
these new talents and all these inner knowing, because we are spending the time. People are sleeping longer also, so the third eye is, also being open. There's so much good that could happen from this, although people are talking about financial, but I just think that is something that is being thrown out there for fear. I think at the end of the day, most people are going to be okay.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of loss when it comes to just material stuff like jobs, money, that kind of stuff. But on a spiritual or energetic level, one of the things that sort of ties in with that whole video I just put out was it came directly from what you were just saying about the traffic or whatever, that there's so much lower vibe energy that's put out there all the time on a daily basis in traffic, with interactions with people, and all of that has been reduced for the most part. Of course, some people are stuck in a house with someone that they normally can't wait to go to work and get away from, but now maybe they're stuck there all day and they're kind of forced to deal with it. Either, move forward in this relationship and try to make it work, or go separate ways or whatever. There's probably a lot of that sort of purging stuff going on. But it was showing me how a lot of people were sort of forced to move from the service to self, that stuck in traffic, get out of my way, I'm just trying to get to work. That's that real selfish, lower vibe energy, just that there's so much of that gets put out on a daily basis, and how that alone being reduced, those people that are normally more into the service to self energy are now having to be in the service to others energy more than they typically are. And that happening on a global scale is actually creating a shift in the whole consensus reality, the consensus vibration. So I've seen this as a huge, on an energetic level, as a huge uptick, a shift upwards in vibration, even though there's a lot of trauma and things like that still going on, but that always happens,
And this is how I see it. So I see it as, we see the Earth as just a planet, but the Earth is alive, and we are part of it. We are like, if the Earth were to be a body or a brain, we are the brain cells.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that we are being recharged just by being at home, we are probably eating better. We are probably doing good things for ourselves, and we're connected within ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when we connect within, we connect with spirit and with the earth as a whole. So I think this is also healing the planet in so many ways that we could probably not imagine. What I was thinking, and just a little something that I wanted to share, probably this is the best time for everybody to create a vision board of what we want our lives and what we want Earth to be like when this is done. We have the time. We could probably do it as a family project and just, create the best version of Earth, the best possible life for all of us, and hope that it will manifest itself.
And we've already seen it happen before. So, big shifts with that piece of artwork that I had, the Mandela Effect, that piece of artwork, where I was spreading love all over the map. And it turns out that's what I'm trying to do now, right? So it's sort of like a precursor.
It sort of became your job.
Right.
See, that's because sometimes we do not appreciate when things are manifesting, or we forgot that that's what we had asked for. And I truly, honestly believe that good things are going to happen, and we need to have that be our reality. When Cynthia always said, how good can it get? This is the perfect time to really tune into that mentality and to be our mantra. How good can it get? How much better everything is going to be once the Earth has this little break from all these crazy things that we were doing on a day-to-day basis to harm it. So now we can make it a better earth.
Absolutely. And one of the things that right now in particular, if you guys get into too much fear or too much worry or wondering if you're on the right track, just tapping into your inner self and really think about, just ponder and contemplate some of the supernatural things that's happened in your life. Typically for a lot of us just in the last year or two. I mean, a lot of times we'll have something super cool, magical seeming happen to us, and we're sort of high on that, magic for a few days, and then it's sort of, we forget, and, where in the moment we felt that direct connection with the divine or our higher team or angels or whatever it is, and then like we let that die off, that feeling, that trust that we have, and that real, very real interaction. And one of the things to help build your trust and confidence in this time is to think back on other times that you received divine help or inspiration, or just had one of those epiphany moments, just kind of dwelling on that sort of thing, and then allow more to come to you right now. That's how I've gotten a lot of this information now, is sort of just being relaxed and just listening and seeing what I pick up on,
Yeah, just, tune your heart and your mind to your spirit. The spirit is always there with you and it's calling you. So give yourself to spirit, and spirit's going to always guide you to the right place and the right time. Absolutely. And once you believe, it's when things start happening, but you have to believe. It's not just wishing for something. You truly have to believe, and then it becomes a reality.
Yeah. It's just knowing that it's handled, and really having trust in your higher team is a great way for that to happen. And I've had it happen over and over again where I didn't know what I was going to do, and I was just like, I'm trusting you guys, and then they come in at the last minute, whoever they are, angels, cosmic, soul family, star family. I don't really know, to be honest, but I do know that we're being, all the above. I know that we're being asked that things are going to change. Things are literally changing in seemingly impossible ways. So none of this should really surprise us that we're seeing this grand shift.
Absolutely. And another thing that I just wanted to point out, because I think it's also important, is that, we should not get upset with people who are going on a different path, or who are spreading all this negative news, or, we can identify that they're spreading all this fear, because they are on their own path. We can't change how they feel and where they are in their own personal evolution and personal growth, because it brings our energy down rather than make them better. So we ended up losing our own energy and our own light trying to concentrate. So we have feelings, and we're still human, and we will make mistakes, but have the moment, let it go, and continue to focus within. This is the time to be self-centered. And it might not sound good, because we've been told, to be selfish is not a good thing, but it is. Because you cannot change others. You can only change yourself, and you can only grow your own inner connection. Mm-hmm. And once you have that, then you will change the world, literally.
Yeah, that's great advice, because what most of us have gone through that. We had this time of sort of being fearful about what we might have learned, or whatever it is. We've all been at that point, and it's sort of, we don't want to forget what that's like to be at that point, so that we can be more compassionate with other people that are at that point at this time, because it's more important than ever. And that those were stepping stones. That fear was a stepping stone to where we are right now, right? So allow them to take that stepping stone through the fear and come here too. It's all part of the process. It's like an assembly line. And so often we're like trying to pull somebody up 3 rungs on the ladder, in a figurative way of speaking. And they really have to take those step at a time, and really all we can do is have a hand out, loving them, and just be there for them, instead of trying to, force them somewhere they're not wanting to go,
Yeah, the more you try to bring them in, the farther they want to run away. So it's just, let them be themselves, send them love, and know that once we do our work, we'll bring, literally, as I said before, once you're connected with Source, you bring Source with you wherever you go, and you affect the room.
Mm-hmm.
Not, it's not an outwork. It's an inner work, because once you connect with yourself, you're connected with Source.
Yeah.
And so, Shane, before I forget, I wanted to give you a big thank you for connecting me with Maria. That was an amazing experience, and thanks to you, I have a wonderful new friend now.
Awesome. Yeah, she was giving you a shout out earlier in the chat. She said you're her girl.
Oh,
so.
did she?
I love making
She
those
is
connections
such a
like that.
wonderful
I actually feel like, even if I'm not going anywhere, but even if I went on to do something else in life, I've already made all these connections of people that are, I don't know. It's just a really cool feeling when you think about it. You're like, wow, they actually met in the chat room and they're like hanging out now. And, even like Marianne was able to go move in up, it's so really cool to just have people meeting like that and not even have to be around really, you know what I mean? It's so cool.
Yes, it's such a wonderful connection, and I think I know that your videos and all the information you have uploaded, even if people don't watch it live, even if they listen to it a year, 5 years from now, there's still going to be someone who's going to find the light, and they're going to be helped by the work that you do. So that is just something amazing. I don't even have the words how to express how amazing the work that you guys do is.
Thank you so much, Ruth. I really appreciate it. And you too,
I just wanted to share because I just felt like, after listening to your yesterday's video, it was like, oh my God, I have to call in. Usually I like to listen in and take the information. A lot of times, as people are talking, I start channeling and information's coming to me. It's almost like a gate opens when I'm listening to the show, when I listen to Eileen, and it helps me in so many ways. So I figure other people are being helped as well.
Very nice. Yeah, it's cool to see everybody doing their little part, and there's so many of us that I don't think we realize our numbers. I think there really is quite a few of us scattered all over, and we're in these little subgroups, and we don't know about each other, but our intentions are being gathered together because we all want the same thing here,
I think so, and I think the most wonderful thing of this group is everybody is out to help each other, to help others, and that's how you know that this is the channel for the light workers, because as soon as someone mentions they need something or they want guidance, you see the whole group just come together and raise their hand and try to help them out. And that is just something very unique in this group. Like, I don't even go to other channels, to be honest with you. I have you and Eileen, and those are the only two channels I go to.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's also a lot of time need to be invested, and I figured I get pretty much a lot of the information that I need at the time, and often I've been thinking about an issue or an idea just popping on my head, and I turn into one of you guys' channels, and you're talking about the exact same issue or bringing up the same idea. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is it. I'm in the right group.
Yep. Yeah, we feel at home here. It's a divine gathering, I always say.
It sure is. It sure is. And I just wanted to, that's the main reason actually I called today, to appreciate you for everything that you do. And as I said, for connecting me with Maria. There was so much good information that came out of her BQH session. She is definitely somebody who can easily connect with Source, and it was really good. A lot of healing came from it, and information that I'm still trying to grasp. So it's great, and it's all because you connected us together. So just appreciate that, and I thank you for it.
No problem. My pleasure. And I see that she said she posted her BQH, so anybody that wants to check that out, you should be able to paste in a link if you want, Maria. And people can go check out your BQH. And if anybody wants a BQH from Ruth, you can reach out in the chat. You can reach out to me, and I can get you in touch with her. Do you want to give your email address, or Ruth?
Yes, you can reach me at bqhinnatehealer@yahoo.com.
bqhinnatehealer@yahoo.com?
Correct, yes. And
Okay.
I am also in the BQH providers page.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so you guys can go to the directory and find Ruth there. Ruth Amaya. Perfect. Well, thank you so
Absolutely,
much,
man.
Ruth. Thank you so much for coming by and all that you're doing. And we're all working together, and we're all accomplishing a lot on the whole.
Yes, thank you for everything you do, and I'll just continue watching you in the chat.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you so much,
Have a
Ruth.
good
Lots of
night.
love to you. Okay, bye-bye.
Good night.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
All right. Let's go back to the phone lines. We have a 514 that's been waiting, and then we're going to go to, I believe that might be Nicola next. Okay, 514, area code. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to Nancy.
Nancy,
Not
how's it
Nancy,
going?
Hey, not too bad.
You've been scaring yourself, Nancy?
Oh my God. I feel like I've
Why do we do
whiplash.
that? Why do we do that? It's like a drug sometimes, isn't it? It's like, I just want to see more. I got to know what's happening, and then it just can spiral out of control, you know. So I've been there, and I know exactly. I'm not gonna act like I haven't been there before. Oh gosh.
Totally. It just really pulled me like under the water. I mean, I was on the way. Like I was really afraid I was gonna go back into a depression. So, oh boy. Yeah, so that's the thing. I couldn't figure out what my role was with all of this, right? Because you also have all these other, spiritual teachers and their channels, and then all of a sudden they're talking about all of this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that you wouldn't normally hear them talk about. And, you all know who I'm talking about, like Magenta Pixie and
Mm-hmm.
Eisenhower, even Ralph Smart is talking about it, and so
Different,
it's like,
varying perspectives, right?
I'm sorry?
I said differing and varying perspectives, even within the spiritual community, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was convinced that my role, especially because I've always felt kind of like a warrior, and a light warrior, and we are kind of light warriors, and I was thinking, okay, I've got to boom, 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 I got to shoot out these news and spread them, and help wake everybody up, but I really fell into the fear, and that was what was fueling me, because I was mostly just focusing on that, not enough of raising my own frequency, and yeah, anxiety, especially the last couple of weeks with that last full moon. Anyway, I just and I know a lot of other people were feeling that way too. I had a nice talk with Kate a few days ago, and we were, on the same page with that, freaking out. Talked with Eileen a lot about it, and the people in the little love light warrior group that I have on the Messenger. We share what we're going through, and we're always kind of in sync. Not always at the same time, but we're always in sync. And it helps to confirm stuff. So. It's always great to have that support group there. But, even just this past week, I said, okay, no, that's enough. And your video, really helped me. And when I spoke with you guys, when I spoke in the chat when you were on with Michelle last Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but last Tuesday, Since then I decided, okay, so now like Facebook, I need to like really cut. Like I was really being pushed to like kind of walk away from that. And just today, YouTube, all like the channels, all my notifications that I would get, I was like, I can't continue this, but still seeing these notifications pop up with these titles, of this and that. I'm like, no. Okay, I've got to block these notifications for now. And I've only kept open the ones that are, uplifting. Because I do realize that it is a choice. I have to decide where I'm going to go. And then I know that, we're creators. So then if I'm like in this fear and I'm thinking about the possibility of this horrible narrative that's that could happen, am I also feeding into that and possibly going to create that? And that's not what I want. I don't want that timeline at all.
Right. I don't know. I think when we think of the idea of a split, that the information that came through when Sherry did it, that people are actually worried that they'll get like you're getting wrapped up in the fear and feel like you'll like jump onto the negative timeline. But it was shown to me how it was, if you can think of a battery, I should have had my drawing thing, but if you can think of a battery getting halved, like an earthworm gets cut in half and it just becomes two earthworms, right? If you can imagine this battery getting cut right down the middle, you're going to affect your experience on your half. You're still going on that positive half, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that you're like, if you're already a rude, hateful, selfish person, you're already on that other side. But if you're like a good, loving person and you get trapped in the fear, you don't automatically go with all of the hateful, killer, elite people. You know what I mean? Just because you got in fear, or everyone would go over there because everyone gets in fear. So it's like, what's that core frequency? At your core, are you more likely to even, risk your life for someone else or something? There's some people that are just so, there's a lot of the people in our community would like save a child without even thinking about their own life. You know what I'm saying? It's like at the core of who you are. So changing, like you being fearful about what's on the news doesn't change that. It's not like all of a sudden you won't risk your life, right? You're still that same person. It's just your day is different. And we really affect our experience more than anything. So yeah, it is a big thing. You want to keep your vibes up. But actually worrying about it, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to the other side. And then you start worrying about that, it snowballs into this big, horrible experience because you think, it's sort of like when you're in Christianity, like if I accidentally sin, I'm going to burn in hell forever, you know what I mean? Or miss the boat. But it's really not like that. So.
Yeah, totally. And then I watched Shri and Kira, because I've been following them for, the last couple of years, as long as I've been following you. And but their videos are getting really long lately. But I caught I caught a few, and he was doing one of his ensoulments. It's kind of like, I don't know, like kind of like a speech with some nice music in the background. And this thing that he said that just kept sticking with me was, it is a sin to, I won't have the exact words, but it was along the lines, it's a sin to try to affect somebody else's path, their journey, Yeah. It was along those lines, but the thing is, it really resonated with me. And, but like I said, I still kept going back and forth, what is my role? Do I do this? Do I, focus on, showing what's really going on? And then, that kind of helped me. So, like, I'm trying to do a lot of things to kind of shift me out of that. And then I told myself, you know what? The universe is always working with me, right? I have to remember that. It's always working with me. And with everyone's little insights here and there, I'm slowly pulling myself out of that hole, and to try and just focus on all the positive things in my life and all the blessings, and kind of, and the thing is, I would react and I would get so like angry, and I like, they need to know, I got to share this, and I would add all these messages to the videos I would share. And I feel almost like these narcissists are controlling the narrative. And the thing is, I personally have experience with a narcissistic relationship, right? With my father being a narcissist, me being codependent, and my ex-boyfriend. So, it's funny. Yesterday, I'm speaking to my, so that's how I'm feeling. Sorry, I'm mumbling here. The last few weeks is allowing this energy of control take over me and pushing me kind of down and not listening to who I am. So, and that's how it was in the relationship with my ex. So, so I needed to take my control back. And yesterday I spoke with my best friend who lives in Calgary, and we were talking, she was talking to me about her relationship with her new partner, her recent partner. And then we started talking about my relationship with my ex, how, my God, thank God I'm out of that. And, I was with him 12 years. And when she lived here in Montreal for a couple of years during that time, and she would come to dinner to my place with her boyfriend. And she told me that her boyfriend hated my ex. And I was like, oh my God, how come you never told me? She goes, well, I couldn't tell you that back then. We'd come over for dinner every Friday night. He came, it was for me because, we were best friends and we've lived apart for so many years. And he came over for me, But, and to find out also that my ex was kind of flirty with her and would make her feel uncomfortable sometimes, and that he even walked in on her in the bathroom because we had been swimming, and drinking and partying, and he had walked into the bathroom when she was changing and said, oh, sorry, I was looking for Nancy, but my bedroom door is right next to the bathroom, and my bedroom door was closed, which means, I would be in there. So just all these little things coming up, and I'm like, now that you mention it, like I've always, I probably was aware of the stuff kind of like happening, but because I was so used to his personality that I didn't take it more seriously than that. But now because of where I am and the relationship that I am in now, I look at him like I was angry at myself, and I felt so ashamed of myself for not having seen all that. And this is stuff that I thought I already worked through. And it's coming back into my consciousness to work through again. So I'm like, what? I thought I was over this. So I woke up, I was so angry. I was so angry at him. I was so irritated. And I was thinking, you know what? All those times, even he was out with one of his buddies who was, cheating on his girlfriend all the time for years. And, and I was like, you know what? He was probably doing the same thing with his buddies and making me sound like I was crazy and that he would never do anything like that and blah, 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 blah. He's just like his friend. Anyway, all this just to say that this morning, I was texting with Brian and I told him the whole thing, and I said, you know what? My son was going to his dad's for the weekend, and Brian was supposed to come over, and he says, why don't you just take the day for yourself? I'm alone at my place. Actually, it was a good idea, and it's the first time I've been alone in a long time. Mm-hmm. So I said, you know what? I'm going to take one of those, a few people were talking about this, to release something. I wrote a letter to my ex. I let out all my anger. Mm-hmm. And, I journaled it out, and I swore and this and that and whatever, and you're like the biggest pig, and how dare you, to even do that to make my best friend feel uncomfortable to the point where even her boyfriend, they would leave abruptly after dinner, and I wouldn't even understand why, my ex, he was a real instigator, he liked to poke people and push people, and he would feed off of that, and he's a narcissist. So anyway, and but I was, then I was thinking, but you were doing that also out of disrespect to me, the person that you were supposed to have loved so much, So it's like he would push and push to see how far he would be allowed, how far I would allow him to get away with things. Now I hope that I would notice it with somebody, but anyway, so I wrote this big letter, and then I had to get to a point where I had to release that, and forgive myself for forgive myself and not be so angry with myself and ashamed of myself for being so stupid and blind. Because at the same time, I would not be where I am right now if I didn't go through that.
Right. That's how you got to look at it.
That's the tough part, though, you know?
That's how you got to look at it. That's the biggest thing to build your trust right now, is to think back at all of the times that things seemingly went wrong in your life and to come to terms with it and see what you got out of that. And then you realize that those times were really on purpose to help you grow in some way or another. And then that helps you moving forward whenever you do come across a new hard time, that, I'm going to learn a new skill, or I'm going to learn something. It's an opportunity, you know? It's like shifting your perspective, and then it doesn't suck as bad. It doesn't feel like you're being attacked anymore. It feels like you're ready for your next assignment or something, you know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, so now I feel like I'm circling back. I had to do so much work on myself and raise my frequency to a point where it shifted me out of that relationship. So now, with all the Facebook and YouTube stuff and all this, agenda stuff coming to the surface, I find myself in this position again where I need to get back to me, and because I've pieced myself together from that relationship, and now I find myself like falling apart, allowing the outside to control me. So I need to like rebuild that now and just like really avoid as much as I can, because I know myself well enough now.
That's really what it's about, isn't it? Know thyself.
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to just come on and since I was alone tonight and I had an opportunity to call in.
This is awesome. Yeah, it's like the good old days, right? It's always good to talk to you. You got such a bubbly, spirit about you. It's always, even like when you're having a hard time, you still come across as happy and bubbly. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Well, I felt good to call in, and your video too the other day. Just what I needed, more confirmation. And then I got the 144 in the middle of something you were saying, and I looked at the clock, and it was 144, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
That's right.
And then today I got many 144s, too, when I went to drive my son in the license plate, but it was backwards, 441. And on my dashboard, I have 144,000 kilometers, and then I had the, 111, well, I don't remember. I'm not, car savvy, but I mean the numbers on my dashboard were there. I had the 1.11, I think, and the 144. So I'm like, at first I'm kind of like, because I'm still just coming up out of the water. So at first I'm kind of like, okay, all right, the numbers, okay. But then slowly, as I kept seeing more and more, because I was following the car that had the 441, so I was like, all right, okay, I get it. Okay, you're in front of me for at least 5 minutes now. You're trying to really dig it in and make sure that I get it, and I'm on the right track. So yeah.
And that's the thing that's the thing I meant to say earlier, because you made a really great point about trying to wake other people up, and it was sort of realizing that not only do you have your whole higher team, every single person does. So, once you realize that, you're like, oh, I don't need to. Clearly, that you've got a team that's helping them wake up, and maybe I'll come along and water the seed, so to speak. Maybe not. And typically, if it's someone close to you, you're probably not going to be the sunshine or water for their seed, because you're just too close, and they know too much. You know what I mean? And it'll be someone else. You'll be helping someone else's brother or sister or whatever. Everybody's helping each other.
But I am noticing people that I don't usually, that I'm surprised that will share something along the lines of what I was sharing, So I was like, oh, okay, so, it's getting out there. So I'm thinking, all right, what happens if I back away and come back in 2 weeks and see what's happened without my input, And I put my input, somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
I'll shine my light instead, Oh,
Absolutely.
it was so good to talk to you, Shane. Oh, Oh, I feel so good now. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
you
I got
seem-
through. And I really
yeah.
love what Ruth was saying.
Yeah, you seem like your anxiety level's gone down. You seem more relaxed and stuff, so I'm glad.
Yeah, totally. I guess I needed to get that out to my tribe, my love tribe.
Yeah, and don't forget to breathe. The breathing I talked about, that is
Yes.
so helpful. I mean it, guys. It doesn't seem like it would be that helpful, but just closing your eyes and taking that real deep conscious breath really pulls you back in, and I don't know. It works for me.
I do. I think I was too much into it.
Yeah.
And then my legs stopped shaking because my right leg is like constantly shaking. I'm like, oh my God, that's anxiety. It's like I need to go like punch something or run or something.
Mm-hmm.
I
I think the
started doing
gyms are
yoga.
opening back up. Go punch a punching bag.
The what?
I said the gyms are
gyms are
opening back up.
closed.
Okay.
Are they? Well, listen. You know, I'm in the restaurant business, right? I know your wife is too, and we're probably in Montreal. It looks like we're going to be the last things opening up. I have no idea what's going to happen. No idea.
She went back to work today. She has to wear a mask and gloves, and it just.
Oh, could you imagine?
No, I can't.
I don't.
Her hands were waterlogged from sweating in the plastic gloves. She went through like 24 pair or something. She said.
Shane. At my work, okay, it's a high-end, well-known, fancy restaurant, steakhouse. Been there for 50 years, and they're going to start it off at 25%. We're 40 waiters, and I'm in the middle of that list. So I'm probably not going to be in the beginning when they open up. Hopefully, apparently, it might be in July. That's what I'm hearing. And so, like, my job is completely uncertain. Besides what's going on in the world, I know that you try to say, well, you like to say you feel that there is a certainty, and I'm trying to, focus on that as well and just trust that, everything is working out how it's supposed to. And that I guess I'm just going to have to figure out another field or something because I have no idea. That my work that I've known all my life is completely uncertain. And I can't imagine working with a mask. We have 15 flight of stairs. We have to climb that with a big tray of plates on our shoulder. It's, it's heavy work. Yeah. And breathing in all that air, losing oxygen while you're doing that, I can't imagine doing that.
Oh, man, me neither. Yeah, I recommended she say she couldn't wear a mask, but she just wanted to do it, so. But, it's not good. That's stressful, to breathe in those masks all day long. And she said it was like moving up and covering her vision up. And it was just, I couldn't imagine.
No, it's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
You're breathing in your own bacteria, your own, it's a breeding ground for bacteria.
Yeah.
I've read
it's
a
like
lot
a
about
petri
that
dish on your face.
Yeah, totally. And it's restricting oxygen to your brain.
Right.
And
which
you're
increases
doing
stress
work,
and increases your likeliness to get sick because it lowers your immune system. So there's plenty of studies too. It's not like this is fringe science,
Exactly. And I find myself like, I'm trying to really let go, but I find myself being like the Debbie Downer, like they had the snowbirds fly over Montreal to boost our morale, and I was like, geez, that's a waste of money. You know how much it costs to make those things fly? Like, what do they care about how we feel,
Right.
I'm so cynical. I was losing it. I even spoke with my mom the other day, and I'm like, this is my lowest low, and I'm like, why did I decide to come back here? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about, why did I decide to reincarnate again, And she's like, has no clue. But I was having like a panic attack, and she told me the best things, my mother. And, she's very intuitive also. She's been noticing an energy change on the planet for a couple of years. And she just said, God is going to take care of us. and just enjoy. If you're focusing on all the bad stuff, you're going to miss out on all the good things. So just day by day, enjoy. You know, you're at home with my son Nicholas. Enjoy your time with him. Do things with him. Do things for yourself, and just, you know, just trust that God is gonna take care of everything. So it's like she told me everything that I kind of needed to hear at that moment. And yeah, so okay, I'm moving back up the tracks.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you called. Are you in a hurry, Nancy?
No.
Okay, I wanted to.
Why? Is there nobody with their hand up?
Well, no. I wanted to bring Nicola in. I want to make sure that's Nicola, though. Let me see here. Her hand's not up, but sometimes the star 2 doesn't work. Are you there, Nicola?
Hello?
Yay!
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I thought it would be cool since.
Hello, Nancy.
We'll make it like
hey,
it's.
Nicola, how are you?
We'll make it like it's a giveaway. So. Sorry about the delay, you guys.
We're having a threesome chat here.
Yeah. So
I love that. That's an Australian accent, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I'm watching a show on Netflix called Wanted from Australia.
Okay.
I'm loving it.
Is that? Oh, I haven't seen that. So it's actually an Australian show. Funny how I watch American shows. I'll have to watch that one. Hey, yeah, I could do that.
My wife watches some women's prison show from Australia. I can't think of the name of it though.
Oh, that old one. Was that one that's been going on since the 80s? The Prisoner? Is that one? Oh, I know one from Australia. Is it a documentary one? Is it a realistic one, or is it a?
I think it's like
a real one. Shane?
I think it's like the Australian version of the Orange, the New Black, or Orange is the New Black, or whatever that prison. Isn't that a prison show? I haven't watched any of them, guys. So I just thought it was interesting that it was a popular show, evidently, from down there.
Yeah, it's been on. If it's what I'm thinking about, it's been on for since the 80s, since before I came to Australia. And this is a new one. So.
Do you have any of your British accent left?
Oh, I can put it on straight away. So let me just think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like if I speak like this, like you know what I mean? England.
No, me.
Yeah, I come from. When I went to school, I read books. Yes. If I speak to my friend from England, like she's my best friend over here, I speak English straight away, like because we live two roads away from each other. We've been best friends our whole lives, and now she's been in Australia for 5 years, so she can get citizenship soon. Yeah, so which is going to be good. And she's been visiting me ever since. Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought it would be cool.
I wanted to mention something.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Nancy.
No, just quickly from your video the other night with Eileen when you guys were doing the satellite search.
Mm-hmm.
You were looking at the Azores. You weren't sure how to pronounce it.
Oh, Azores.
The Azores in Portugal. Yeah. That's where my parents are from actually. And I remember Indigo Light, Alexander, who's been on your show.
Yeah.
I watched his videos, and he had said that Atlantis was actually there.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know.
Wow, that's interesting. That's cool. I'm glad you added that in there.
Whereabouts? Haven't seen that yet. Whereabouts? Is Atlantis down near Australia that way?
In the Azores in Portugal.
No. Oh, Portugal, right. So that's where Atlantis was, in Portugal. Okay.
Apparently, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I've heard of a few different places. Yeah, I have. Yeah. Heard of a few different.
I don't remember. It was so long ago, you know.
Yeah, well, we were all there, weren't we?
Yeah.
I remember Atlantis. I've got one past life memory of Atlantis, actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I'm trying to figure out
Wow.
timeline-wise. Do we know when Atlantis was supposedly? Is that before Egypt or after Egypt's rule, or the pyramids and all
It was before Egypt. It was before Egypt.
Okay.
The Atlanteans, when they went under, some of them survived, and then they went to Egypt, and they spread the knowledge from Atlantis to Egypt. Before Atlantis was Lemuria.
Oh,
So the Lemurians then become the Atlanteans, and the Lemurians were very...
I've actually been really interested in looking up the history of Atlantis. If you know any good sources to look it up, I'd love to do that.
Right, off the top of my head, I can tell you a lot of stuff, but boy, I wish my teacher was alive, because she has direct memories of Atlantis. I wasn't anything special, but she was a high priestess there, somebody who couldn't get married. She was a virgin priestess there. And she stayed as it went under. She decided to stay. And my husband was there too. And I was there. So yeah, we're all there. But yeah, I think I got away. Have you got any feelings you were there, Nancy?
What I get is I can visualize myself, or sometimes in dreams, where I'm swimming underwater. So I don't know if that has anything to do, but I can't be on a boat on water if it's rocking. I have issues with that. But underwater, swimming deep, all the way down. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a person who even snorkels or anything, but I like to kind of visualize, or sometimes I'll dream that I'm just deep underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's something that I've never dreamt about, and because it scares me deep under the water. But and I would say if you have a strong feeling about Atlantis and you have the underwater feeling, definitely, and you most of us would have been there. We're all practically all old souls here, so. Lemuria was even older, but Atlantis definitely, and very much crystals with Atlantis. We use crystals to store our knowledge. We use crystals. Does that resonate with you as well? It's just what I've learned and what's resonated with me.
Well, I have a lot of crystals, but I don't play with them that much. And I have a lot of them. I'll sage them whenever I need to. Yeah, well, if you love crystals and you're interested in water, and you're mentioning Atlantis, you were there. We probably knew each other. How about you, Shane? I'm sure we all knew each other. Everyone that's in this group, I'm sure that we know each other from elsewhere for sure.
It came through that I was in Lemuria before, but not, and maybe Atlantis. I have to go back and listen, but, Debbie Solaris, who does the Akashic Records readings, gave me that live one that one time, and I know she said I was originally from Vega, where the blue people are, and that's where the split happened, and Lyra came into the picture, which a lot of people are from there. That's the cat people or whatever. So because I'm not familiar with all of the different star systems, it's hard for me to remember exactly what she said, but I do remember that me and her had a lifetime together in Lemuria. That's why I remember that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we'd actually had a life where we worked together before.
That's so cool.
Oh, Shane. That is really, really cool. That is really cool. Because the Lemurians were really, really tall. I'm guessing, to me, I'm visualizing 8 foot tall, with longer, larger, taller skulls as well. And I don't know whether you got told this, but Lemurians used to power their boats with crystal, but on the outside of I think it was on the outside of the boat. So it would be oppositely charged to the water, so then it would go through the water. So it was run just on crystal power by the way the the crystals were, and I guess they used sales or another form of directing the direction, but it went through the water just by the crystals being the opposite charge. I don't know what crystals were used because I wasn't in Lemuria, but I got told this from a Lemurian who's my teacher, and Gary, I'm not sure whether he was in Lemuria, it's my husband, but my teacher was my first teacher when I was 20s, my early 20s. Yeah, so wow, you've been in Lemuria. That's amazing, Shane. With Debbie. Oh, I'd love to get an Akashic Records. Like, I've been up to the Akashic Records in my meditation, opened the book, but couldn't read a word because they just all jumble about. So I wasn't allowed to look back then at 21. Yeah. I wasn't allowed to look. Yeah, I did it in a meditation, in a group meditation. Got there, went to a book, and I tried to focus on one word, and I just couldn't. Sometimes in dreams I can focus on words and read from a book, but I can never remember what they said when I wake up. So that's lucid dreaming. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to read from my book, which means I wasn't meant to know at that young age what's going to happen later on in life, because that would change my path, And that has every single lifetime you ever will have had, will have, or, that contains everything, the Akashic Records.
That's mind-boggling, isn't it? Or that we will have. That's funny because time is such a solid, unchangeable thing from our perspective, but it really isn't like that at all. And Nancy, I didn't know. I didn't know if you were in a hurry or anything, but Nicola was going to do like she did last week with reading the numbers, and I thought maybe she could do yours too while you're here, since you were having a hard time, and maybe I don't know, get a little word of encouragement or something. So if she's willing to, I just thought it'd be kind of cool to do it live. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
If you're, would you like it, Nancy? Would you like me to do it now for you? I'd love to if you want to.
Absolutely.
Oh, great. So, just if you want me to stop saying anything, if it's personal, then I'll just stop. But just let me know, okay? So
I've got nothing to hide from my tribe, love tribe.
Yeah. No, and anybody who, what did you say? No, nothing to hide from your love crowd, did you say? I couldn't hear you then. I better turn the phone up. Hang on a second.
She said love tribe.
Oh, you didn't hear what I said?
No, I didn't hear what you said. Shane, interpret. Love cry, was that?
Oh,
tribe.
I said I have nothing to hide from my love tribe, because I've already told them so much about my personal life. Bless you. And anybody that comes on here in the future is only going to be interested in open-mindedness anyway, so that's lovely. So, Nancy, to do this, you've got to tell me your date of birth, but actually the year as well. So the whole lot, please. May I have your date of birth, Nancy? Yes, December 19th, 1975.
Okay. Oh, it's the same year as my husband. Okay, so that's the 19th of December, 1975. In Australia, we write it round the other way. I'm just going to do it the way I'm used to, but that's okay. We go 19th of December, but that's okay. So I'm just going to add that up. Okay. So now, this is what we do. First of all, I write the 19th of December, 1912, 1975. Then I add the numbers up. Like 1 and 9 is 10 for the 19. So it comes down to a 1 because I bring it down to the lowest common denominator, each number this is. So I'm just in the process of adding it up. December is a 3 because that's 1 and 2 is 3. I'm just doing the next one. 1975, that's 1 and 9 is 10. Is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I just want to double check. 1 9 is 10, 17, 18, 19. That comes to a 4. And then, and then I add up the 1 and 3, so that your inner soul number, which I'll tell you about soon, is a 4. And your actual numerological number is an 8. I'm going to double check all that now. This one is 10, 3. This
This-
must be
this I
correct
knew.
if I do it wrong. You knew that. You already knew you was an 8. Oh, wonderful. You've had a numerological reading before as well, have you? Oh, but have you had a reading before?
And numerology, I think I was just learning a little bit about it years ago, and I just knew how to calculate the life path number and stuff, but never really anything further than that.
Same here.
That's just wonderful. That's something. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So my numerology might be very different to others because this is esoteric knowledge that's been passed on from my teacher through her teacher back. Like she knows it goes back to at least like the 18th century. So we're talking about 1700 something.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I'm so grateful.
Yeah. So that's where it's been traced back, but it probably goes back further. But that's how far.
So you're actually collecting 5 numbers though, correct? You're not just doing the one. So the life path number is only one of the numbers that you're looking at, correct?
Yes. The life path number, that is the 8, that's what I call, that's the number you are in numerology. 4 is the inner soul number, and then the other 3 are just in order of the sort of times in your life. So I'll explain as I go with that. So I don't know what the other numbers are called, but I just got taught the way I got taught, and it might be different. So, and what resonates with this reading, Nancy, you take what resonates with you, and you keep it, and then what doesn't resonate with you, you can dismiss. So, because not everything is true verbatim. This is just, for what I've learned from my perspective. So, and it's always worked some good for me. So here, so with an 8, 8 is an old soul. So we were just talking about old souls before. So if you are an 8, it is impossible not to be an old soul. So absolutely impossible. Mm-hmm. So we're talking about the oldest souls on this planet Earth, as in you've reincarnated. As much as probably any other human. In fact, you could be on your last or second last lifetime on this planet. But you can choose to reincarnate again. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not saying you're on your last or your second last, but, 1 to 3 to 4 lifetimes, like getting to this stage. And then when you've graduated at the end of all your lifetimes, then you can choose to come back if you want to help your soul group in human form, or you can choose to go on to the next level, which is, I do not know. It is just the next level, but all I know, it's just not as solid as what we are, as in like
physical matter.
Our atoms together. Physical matter, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So I believe that the Earth plane is the densest plane like that there is. I don't know whether anybody else has heard of anything denser.
I can't imagine anything getting denser than a rock or a beam of steel. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, it's delayed. But yeah.
No, you couldn't, could you? But yeah, no. But do you know something? That is 99.9% empty matter. So in science, like we all know this, don't we? It's you've got the like the neutrons and the atoms and everything like that, and it's all empty, isn't it? So it's
isn't that weird? It's just that, and I had a hard time realizing that, but then I realized, I'm like, oh, that's because I'm empty too, because I was like, well, if it's empty, why is my finger going through it? It's like you just got a bunch of emptiness touching each other, so you don't even have enough mass. Your perceived mass is an illusion, that's why you, and it's like once you can get over that, that's how people like walk through walls and stuff, I think it's just a realization, and then you just do it, you know what I mean? You just hack the matrix as you're walking along, and I think people... avatars like Jesus just figured out how to do that, and I think these energies now are conducive to where we don't have to spend 40 days out in the wilderness, hopefully, to be able to do some of the things that were done back then.
just more metaphorically, like we do things, like we learn in a different way. But it's about resonating, like the rock will be vibrating at a faster rate than what we are, because you can't put your finger through it. So something's going really, really fast, like a fan, it's going to cut your finger off. You can't put your finger through it, sort of thing. Do you know? Like it resonates so fast, and that's why. Yeah. So there is dense, really dense metals. So really dense, but So okay. So I know, Nancy, you're an old soul. Now that comes along with a lot of things in incarnation. That comes along with you do have a lot of abilities that you can choose to tap into in this lifetime. So whether that'll be being intuitive, psychic is one of them. There's many forms of being psychic. You can get a feeling something's going to happen. You might, you can hear things, clairaudient. You can see things. You can do psychometry. That's when you do a reading with a personal object of somebody else with their permission, and all types of things. So you've got the ability, and we all do as human beings, but especially you, with being an old soul, really have got the ability to tap into anything that you want to. So if you really want to learn this, you can take it as far as you want to take that. And especially as you've got a one up here as well in this, you've got a lot of strength. So when you're determined to do something, you will do that. Whatever you want to do, you can do there, Nancy. So that's that's a really, really good positive thing with that. Does that resonate with you so far? With that?
Yes, it does. I've been told that many times by psychics that I have also I have many tools in my toolkit, and that I just have to practice them, and which is what I am kind of doing now, is trying to tap into. I've released a lot of fear over the last couple of years. I know, like Shane is known. I've talked a lot about being fearful of the other realms and stuff like that. But ever since my experience at ESETI, that really opened me up and helped release a lot of my fears. Mm-hmm. So I don't fear more at night or in my sleep time. Like, I've had an experience where I felt like it was an entity that was trying to implant a message in me, and as if it was me thinking it, and I was able to hold on a minute. No, I'm a sovereign being, and no, this won't happen. And then I felt myself right away feel empowered, and that energy kind of disappeared. So I didn't know if it was maybe a negative entity that was just trying to, sneak through, or if it was just my shadow. But I was able
done.
Yes.
You was able to ward it off and to protect yourself. That's brilliant. And because you had that intuitive gut feeling that it probably was something trying to attach a message to you that wasn't yours, and I suspect your gut feeling was absolutely right there. Absolutely right. And when you just said that to me, because that reminds me, with apes. When I say games, I don't say that lightly. I mean games as in lessons. When you've got an 8, it's not necessary. You can take this positive or negatively, but you have a lot of tests in this lifetime. There's a lot of, obstacles to overcome and go through. I mean that's just one of them. To know that you're an 8 pure love light energy, and that nothing can harm you. Nothing can harm you. We are spiritual beings learning to be human. We're no different to the spiritual beings out there, except for we have a body, a human body around us. So, but they cannot. Nothing can hurt you unless we allow it to. And if you do get scared, you just ask whoever you believe in the most in the world, whether it be Jesus Christ, your higher self, the universal light, whatever you resonate with the most, you ask that to surround you in love and white light, and you will be protected. So whether that's your higher self, yeah.
You know what I really love about this
yeah,
community
so-
is how, like you just did there, you just respected everyone's point of view right there. You know what I mean? I just wanted to chime in and say I think that's cool how everyone seems to do that in this community, just sort of respects, you know, whatever higher self you're dealing with or higher power, I should say, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I can't stop smiling.
We've got... Sorry, Nancy?
Oh no, I just said I can't stop smiling. I feel like my heart is like the size of my living room right now.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got the big grin across my face. I know what you mean.
Me too.
It feels like your heart's opening up so big it could just go on forever, doesn't it? It's like
expansion.
Hey,
Yes.
how many people in the chat are
Yes.
smiling right now? Or are you just sitting there with a straight face? Smile. It feels good, you guys.
And yeah, it does, doesn't it? It feels good to have a reading and to do the reading. And Shane, that's a really important message as well. What you just said there, being open-minded and accepting every single person for what their higher power is, because to me it all comes under the same umbrella, and it doesn't matter what you, as long as you're believing with unconditional love, as long as it comes from your place of most unconditional love, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just I always steer clear of the dark. If someone says, "Oh, the dark side," that's my higher power. That's that's the only thing. So as long as it's with your highest form of love, there's nothing. It's exactly right. That's why I couldn't understand even when I was a child. How come there was a Muslim in my class and she went out, and I was thinking, well, her God, my God, it's all the same God. There's just one higher. I knew that from a child, even though I wasn't told it. I just, I just sort of knew it. Just people put names on it, sort of thing. Yeah. You've got really interesting numbers here. So yes, you've got the ability to go as far as you want to take it in this life, Nancy, and it's all in there. There have been a lot of obstacles in your life and in the past. I can't pick out what, because I'm not with you now. I'm not doing like a psychic reading. This is more just the numbers. So you'll have a lot of lessons to learn in this lifetime. And then that's and every lesson kind of works out to be positive, even if it feels negative at the time. Once you get through the other side, you're all the more stronger for it. And then next time to help somebody else, and how to handle if something similar happens again. So that's always a good thing. So you have lots of people try to play games as well. So what I mean is you'll find when I say games, that's life lessons. Also, you're somebody with people will come to ask for help. Like you are just this beacon that just attracts people that need help, and that's good. But a lot of people that have 8, like yourself with an 8, one big lesson that you've got to learn if you don't learn it straight away is if you're not there wholeheartedly for yourself first, you cannot wholeheartedly be there for anybody else. So loving yourself first is the most important thing. Because if you're there for you, you can be there for, you've got enough in you to love everybody and to help everybody. But if you don't give enough back to yourself and say no sometimes, I mean, if somebody asks for help, if you say, no, I'm not going to help you, you can say, look, I'm a bit like at this time I probably can't, but you could point them in another direction for that time being to somebody else you know, and then you say, if you don't get any help from that person, then come back to me. That's if you feel you're a bit like worn out at any time in your life, or I don't know, we've all come across it, I suppose, if we've been invited out to different places as friends or something, and you really don't feel like doing it, and you've done too much, you know, that type of thing as well. And do you find like you've been like you'll go somewhere and then you'll just bump into somebody you don't know on the street, and they end up telling you their whole life story and things like that? You get that all the time, yeah? Yeah.
Well, all the time.
Nancy's super easy to talk to, but I could totally see.
Yeah. Yes, I've gotten into many conversations with people. They always felt comfortable with talking to me about their personal things. And I have to agree that I really think that that's one of my biggest life lessons that I'm working on is loving myself. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly getting back to that, because I give so much power away, and I have to learn my boundaries, to put my boundaries up.
Why is it that it seems like people like Nancy that are so loved and so loving don't love themselves very much? That seems like a common theme I see. And it's like, wow, it's like as loving as they are and they don't love themselves very much. When they're such a loving person, it's hard to imagine that, you know? And I've even dealt with that in my own life, you know what I mean? Just not realizing.
Oh, yes.
You know?
I think it's from a childhood trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can be as simple as a parent telling you have no right to be feeling angry, you know? Mm-hmm. So this kind of shuts you out from learning how to express your emotions, or just not getting enough attention. Like I've already spoke about my father, you know, he was never really there, and when he was there, it was just to, you know, punish me, you know. So I didn't get the affection from my father either, and I felt very dismissed. So I know it stems from that.
Right, that makes sense.
So it didn't feel heard, I didn't feel loved enough, and that's why I fell into these relationships with men who resembled my father.
Right.
So that's part of working on the loving myself, and also to forgive the other ones, because that's all that they knew. They're doing things the way they knew and how they were raised, and they're not comfortable with expressing their emotions. Or a man should not be able to express emotions. You know, I'm going to say real quickly too, my father didn't give us a lot of affection. We were 3 daughters, but my mother, she was sexually abused by my grandfather. So my dad already said to my mom, he never felt, he was always worried that if he would give affection, you know.
Right, that she would be suspicious of him or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know,
yeah, I've seen
that
that kind of stuff happen.
No?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, for you you've come so far, Nancy, just for you to articulate that into words and to start realizing where not loving yourself enough. Just to realize that you haven't loved yourself enough is huge. So that's
like the
50%
biggest step.
Of the way there. That is just to admit that, and to find out where it comes from. That's a really big thing as well. And then letting and then forgiving, because is really, really important, because it helps, as you said, because then it helps you, because you're releasing out. You're doing it for yourself, as well as like for the other person, because the other, like, everybody gets brought up by, and it goes on, and the chain goes back. Like you get, say you get one abuse in the family, I've got a relative who does psychology, and she says it takes 8 generations for it to actually completely dissipate from that family line.
Wow.
So if there was an abuse, for it to give birth, all the way through. For that, to stop affecting. But it doesn't mean that you know you, especially with AIDS, because you love so much. You love everybody so much. You love I suspect that you love the human race so much. It's like it's like unconditional love for everybody else, and then you don't leave enough for yourself, but you do love yourself enough. It's just you've got to recognize that, and that's what you're doing, and that's what I mean with AIDS. It's not an easy lifetime having AIDS, but it doesn't mean it has to be a bad lifetime. I'm saying it's a lifetime where you get through a lot of stuff. Like you might have you got a lot, quite a lot to get through there. But having that 8 at the end is really good there. Like because you can deal with anything, and because you've got a 1 in your birth date too, so which means that's strength. That is innate strength, and so anything you put your mind to, you will achieve there. So so and you are worthy. So if you don't want to do something or whatever, you can say no and not feel guilty, and it's just practicing that. And the way I find to do it is if you put yourself in another person's shoes. If you think, if I was like I don't know, with the you've got siblings or whatever, or just say you've got your best friend, and you think, now if like you think, if your best friend said no to you about something, you wouldn't hate them for that. So, and they would not like you for saying no. They would respect you for saying no at that time, because we've got to have time for ourselves. Otherwise, we just get really, really tired and lose. Yeah. If you don't give enough to yourself, sometimes the universe shuts you down for a little while, and you might just have 6 weeks off sick or something, off of work or something, because you need some time to look after yourself. So, because you are busy, like in this lifetime, you're busy looking after everybody else, and so that's just one of the lessons there. But I'll move on a little bit as well. Now, in your
I did want to, if I could, chime in right there just to kind of piggyback on what you were saying. An exercise that helped me when I was doing, my friend Joyce was doing the biofield tuning, was having me go back to different times in my life, like the first day of school, for instance, when I sort of felt like I was tricked into going, and I sort of had this, and I didn't even realize it, you know what I mean? I had this energy there of feeling duped into going to this place, and I just hated school, and I had to suck it up, you know what I mean, and just do it. But having me go back and visit myself as I am now, and go and like have a talk with myself, and I like started crying and stuff, and it like helped me release the stuff. It was so powerful. I had no idea, but you don't have to do the actual biofield tuning thing to actually do that. But any time in your life that you can go back to and comfort yourself, no one understands you like you know yourself. So it's a cool little meditation practice to help you release things that maybe you're carrying baggage or whatever, and you're stuck at home right now. It's a good little thing to try,
Well, to piggyback quickly on what you just said, Shane, because I was going to mention it before, is that I did do, when I figured it out that the issues I had, stemmed from my relationship with my father, I did do self-love meditations, guided meditations that brought me back to myself as a child. And the little Nancy, was hiding in a corner. When you do this guided meditation, you go down these stairs, and you just follow along. And she was hiding in a corner, and it was little me with this little white dress with 3 cherries on it. I remember, I know exactly how I looked. There was pictures of me during that time. And I went and gave love to little Nancy, and I did a lot of work with that. So now every time I go to visit, she's always like so happy to see me and bubbly, and it's like as if she was healed. She's not afraid anymore. Like she cleared that part. So you reminded me of that.
That's really nice.
And that is amazing. And just to piggyback on what you both said, then, you're both looking. Yeah, this is amazing because what you're doing, you probably already know, is inner child work. That is the most healing work we can do for ourselves. Is going to our inner child, and that's what you've both done. And you knew how to do that without being told how to do it. You just did it, didn't you? So that's yeah.
And you know what? It's for some reason
brilliant.
It's easy to love yourself when you're just this cute little kid. You know what I mean? Because it's just I don't know. I guess I went back and visited myself at like 4 or 5, and so I didn't see it as me. I saw it as this cute little boy. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. You know, and
it was your own kids.
Right, exactly. So it's easier to love yourself when you don't look like yourself at the current time, I find, but for whatever reason.
and you know what I found also, that I was going in to heal little Nancy, but now when I'm feeling down, I always try to go back and visit her and say, you know, hey, I'm here, you know, and she's the one who cheers me up. She's the one who gives me so much love.
Yeah.
When I'm feeling down.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Those, I can resonate with that too. And you can go back to, so you go back to yourself and saying, see, it's all right. Oh, this is how you're going to grow up to be. It's okay. And then you, like as an adult, you're saying to yourself, and then and then she's cheering you up. So, Shane, you see yourself at 5. How old do you see yourself at, Nancy, when you go back? About 7 or younger?
Something like that. I'm trying to remember that white little dress. I know I had 2 pigtails and I was missing my 2 front teeth, or
like
they were just like growing in.
Oh, okay. So you're talking school age. That's about that age.
Between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Maybe, between 5 and 7.
Yeah.
Between 5 and 7. Yeah. I'm 7 with mine, and when I was going through my bad time, what I put myself, I imagined that my little 7-year-old self was inside myself, but with a pink parasol over the top. It's just across my heart chakra, just protecting. So I didn't let her out to experience what this was years ago when I was going through some hard times out in the world. So I protected her, and then in the end I just let her out and let my inner child out, and I become more playful again and become me. Yeah, so that's what it is. So the inner child work is brilliant. Yeah, that's wonderful, guys.
Misty's in the chat right now saying she's in tears listening to this, and she's going to try it the next time she's meditating. And I felt really strongly to chime in right then. So that's a little synchronicity for me.
I could tell her the name of the woman that I oh, you know what? When I get off and I go on the chat, I'll find, because I do have the meditation that helped me do that, to go and visit my inner child.
That'd be nice.
Lisa Romano. I think her name is Lisa Romano. She's okay. I'm gonna look it up because I'm not quite sure, and I'll add it in the link after when I get off.
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, that would be great. We can do that. And maybe Eileen might be able to take us through a little inner child thing one time as well. That might be nice. You know, in the evening. Yeah. So now, you've got a 4 above your 1975. So now you have known people growing up, and in your life, that wear uniforms. So that uniforms can include nurses, policemen, prison guards, traffic wardens, airplane pilots, army, uniform people, policemen. You will know people, friends or family, but close people, and people in your sort of circle, growing up especially, this is in your sort of earlier life onwards, that wear uniforms in your life. So, and it continues all the way throughout too. So, and it will still, so you've yet to meet more people that wear uniforms as well, or you do yourself. So, I know it sounds very sort of like common, but yeah, this does resonate there with the 4s there. So you've got 2 4s here. You've got inner soul numbers of 4, which I'll explain later, and you've got a 4 above your birth date too. So it's sort of all the way throughout your life there.
That's fascinating that it tells you that.
Can you resonate
Nancy, you have people close to you worn uniforms, or?
I can't think of any. I mean, my parents worked in the hospitals, but they were not in uniforms.
They didn't wear uniforms. Okay, so they didn't have a nurse's uniform. Okay, all right. Okay. Well,
what's specifically? What does the number specifically say about that? I mean, is it authority figures or is it precisely uniforms?
Well, the way I got taught it was uniforms. Like, yeah, people you will know people and like friends and family that will come across through your life. But this is
right, like a cousin that's
like
in the military or something or anything like that.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And like you're only young now still. We're all the same age group. See, I'm 76, you're 75, Shane's 74. So like for you, Nancy, it's happening throughout your life. So you're still yet to meet people as well. So this is to come as well. So yeah, so you might. Next week you might get back on the chat and say, I've just met someone really, a good friend that wears this, that's a policeman,
Now that you mention it, about a month ago, I somehow, by divine connection, reconnected with an old friend from high school that I was very close to. He and I, we understood each other on a certain level. And then after high school, we haven't seen each other since then. So, I mean, we just reconnected recently, and we are both awake, and we know everything about...
That's wonderful.
About, like, we would fit... I know, it was like we had, anyway, he's a fireman.
He was a fireman.
Oh, there it
is. He's a firefighter. That's the only one I didn't mention, because I always mention firemen when they say the uniforms. There you go. That was only last month. Okay. There we are. Okay, that's one. And you're connected. That's what I mean. It's got to be a connection. It's not just like someone you meet. It's someone you, it's either going to be a family member or someone you really like resonate with. Yeah, there you go. So that's one. So yeah. So sometimes it's these readings. Sometimes it'll pop into your head like in a few days' time as well, and you think of something else. And
right. Well, when you said the uniform thing, and you were like, it's
all the way through life.
And you were saying it was common, I was like, I don't know that it's really common. I think it's more rare. It seems like these days, doesn't it? It's like, and then you start thinking, well, there's bus drivers, and I mean, you go down the list, and there is quite a few uniforms. I mean, even I worked in a machine shop, and I had the blue uniform. The blue collar worker. There's quite a few of those. That's kind of a uniform in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sort of, these are sort of more like army, military, policemen, firefighters, what do you call it? Yes.
And he told me also, my firefighter friend told me also that his father was in the military when he was young, and that on the weekends they would leave the base because there was a lot of ET activity.
Oh, there we go.
That's awesome.
There we are. Okay, so I've hit the double banger. There you go. Oh, this is great. I'm getting confirmation that, I like that. Thank you, Nancy, for that. That's fantastic. Now, what else have I... I might remember more about fours. It's been a long time since I've done numerology readings. So, but what else is there? Trying to remember. Okay, no, we'll move on to the next number now. Just for now, I can come back to that one anyway. Now, the 12, that's the 3. But in Australia, we read that as the middle of your life because it's in the middle. But you guys do 12th of the 19th the other way around. But I'm just going to read it how I know it. So So this is for the middle of your life. This is the way I learned it. So, so this is about now. So from the age of when you're 14 through till about 60 is what you call sort of like from the middle. So yeah, so anything from 18 to grown up, I suppose, 18 to 60. So you're going to have a few third-party interference tests. Now these can be good things. So a lot of things are going to come in threes around this time, especially ramping up now. So yeah, I was having that with another reading I did last week for was it David? I forget the gentleman's name. But anyway, so yeah, you're going to have a few third party things. So just be aware, like when you're signing a contract, if it's you and your partner, that's considered one person. And then the bank manager is considered another person. But then if you have a third person on the contract, that would be you've got to be aware to go into business with three people, sort of like in time in your life, and just make sure it's a good fit. Sometimes it's positive, but sometimes that third person can cause a problem. That could be either the bank lender or the friend you're going to go into business with. So I got warned about that, and I did actually lend money to somebody, borrowed money I didn't have, and lost it and paid it off for years. Well, my husband and I, we did together. So, yeah, we borrowed money we didn't have and didn't get it back. But it was a lesson we learned, so we wouldn't do it again as now, so later on. So sometimes there's good lessons to learn. And that might not it's not always about money. It's it could be anything. So so just and things will come into threes with you at this sort of time in your life as well. See, right now you're just sort of entering the middle age. We are just, like what I call like middle age, but yeah. So so that's that. And then the one in numerology, that's this is really good because this comes right all the way through, right up to the end of your life. But when you're always going to be sure of yourself, like towards the more you mature from now onwards, the easier it's going to get when you decide what you want to do, Nancy. Like you will do it. Like you will. From now onwards, it will get easier for you. So this is so if you decide to do whatever you want to do, you can do. Like, but you really got to want to do it and put your mind to it and put a path to it. But you can achieve absolutely anything, especially with the eights, and you've got all this innate. What's it called? I'm trying to find the right word. You've got this intuitiveness going on about you. You've got the old soul, and you've got this strength. That people with number ones have a lot of strength. So you've got strength, and you've got all your abilities. Everything's all coming together. Oh, and very importantly as well, you will always have enough money throughout your life. Now, it doesn't sometimes, always. Now, sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be millionaire, but if you wanted to be having that one there, if that was your one goal, but you could. But I don't know, I suspect your goal probably is more to learn knowledge, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what your goal is, but whatever you want to achieve, you can. But you'll always have enough money throughout your entire life. So you've probably found sometimes in your life you don't think you're going to get there, maybe, but you always have done, and you always will. You might just find some money that you didn't have, or you really will have. You really will have money, and you're going to have at least 4 inheritances in your life as well. So that could mean a book, that could be a ring, that could be money, but there's four inheritances coming to you.
That's cool.
In your life. At least.
That's encouraging.
So there's definitely 4. There could be more, but there's definitely 4. Because there's you've got 2 4s, and the 8 makes 2 4s as well. So that's yeah. People have inheritances without 4s, but yeah, you've got definitely 4 there. So yeah. When I say that to people, like me, I never wish anybody to die so I can get an inheritance or anything like that. But you know, when it comes, it's okay. You know, but I don't. Yeah. So. Yeah, so with the uniforms, that's going to keep ramping up from now onwards and towards the rest of your life. So, yeah, that's, yeah.
I hope I'm not going to get arrested for protesting.
What are you going to do protesting for? I'm
kidding.
Have you got plans? You probably did in the past life. yeah, you're probably like in the 1960s or something like that, or back in the when we used to burn our brows back in the, was it the 30s or something? Suffragette. Probably was the suffragette or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. So, and do you have any past life memories at all? Because you've had loads of past lives being an 8.
Yes, I know. I feel that.
Yeah.
I can't really remember, but I do know that I've felt with my ex-partner, I've felt like I've known him from a past life, and my partner today, I definitely know him from past lives, but I don't have memories.
No, but you just innately know. That's the inner knowing. Yeah, that's definitely there. Yeah. So, and generally, whatever you feel strongly about, so if you feel strongly about Greece or Egypt or, you know, Germany, any country, any place in the world, whatever you really feel resonate to, like you want to go there, or you know, you've just got that inner knowing because you've got this so much inner knowing knowledge happening here, so you can really tap into it. So you just go with it and meditate with it, and then perhaps something might pop up. So so just think what you love. Like if you're fascinated by the Parthenons in Greece, or the Egyptian pyramids, or like Atlantis we were speaking about before, you know, I would definitely say go there and, you know, meditate on that one. That'll be a good one to do for you. So we probably knew each other from Atlantis. I was there. That was my first incarnation at Atlantis, and I know my name as well. Yeah, but I can't say over the. You never give anybody your first name, like not just out there, because if somebody's got your first name they incarnated with, they can do magical spells and binding things with that. So you really keep that to yourself. Like you just tell, like say your partner who you trust completely. So just my husband and I, we know each other's first name, and my teacher. So and the people in my group. Like I would feel comfortable telling you if I saw you face to face now, but I'm not going to blurt it over the internet. That's funny. Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. Have you got any questions?
Actually,
Actually,
I wanted to make sure we can get through this. I've got to end the broadcast pretty soon because my wife's back at work and she's got to go to bed pretty soon. But I wanted to make sure we finished all the numbers. Is there anything else with the numbers that are telling you, or did you have any questions, Nancy, so far?
That's what's just have any questions, Nancy?
Just a comment. It's funny because I was watching Amanda Ellis' video yesterday, I think, and she was talking about how you can always ask your guides or, you know, cosmic team or an angel team for a blessing, and that nobody's better than anybody else, and anyone could receive a blessing. And I asked for a blessing today, and look what happened tonight. That's so cool.
Oh, wow.
And I don't usually ask for anything.
Divine connections. No, I just felt like we were planning on doing me, but I was like, I don't know. I just felt like I just really felt like you could benefit from it right now. Not that I can't.
You mean you were supposed to get a reading?
Yeah, I can get it next week or something. No, we can just do it another time. It's totally cool. I thought it'd be cool to have you get one because you. No problem. No, we're gonna. We were talking about doing this every week. Every week where we, have some money. That'd be kind of cool. Just whenever you're available, Nicola, but it's not something you have to do. But, whenever you're available, I think it's cool. It makes for real interesting, stuff.
Yeah.
I'm super grateful.
Honor to do it. And I'm super grateful to you. For you to actually say it's a blessing to get it from me, it's just, I'm so humbled and I feel so privileged that you said that. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
And you got a little recording of it. You can save it if you want. That's cool.
Yes, of course. Oh, so exciting.
And, for everybody in the community that's met Nancy and knows her personally, it's interesting to see, how the numbers line up, too. Because I found out I was a Life Path 9. Check this out. Someone watched one of my videos, and they were like, when is your birthday? You're a Life Path 9. And I told them, they were like, yep, I knew you were by how I act. It's weird. So I guess you can tell.
Whoa.
The numbers really. Yeah, they knew I was a 9 by how I acted. Yeah. And that's how I found out I was a 9.
I do feel like I am really an old soul, and I've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And sometimes I say, man, I don't want to come back. I'm done.
How many millions of times have we said that?
Well, maybe it is your last lifetime. Sorry? Yep.
Yeah, when you said that, I was thinking, oh, my God, I was just saying the other day, do I have to come back, And then I realized, if I came back this time around, it's because maybe deep down I really felt like I needed to be here. But maybe after this, no. Because it's tough. It's tough. But knowing how I am, I might just come back. I don't know.
Well, generally, and one more thing, because just to reiterate onto that, when you've got an 8 going on here, you do normally save the biggest lifetimes for last, because there's normally a lot of leftovers, a lot of things you may not have completed whole in previous lifetimes. You might have a little bit of karma to pay back here, or a little bit of karma to receive from somebody else. So it's quite a big lifetime there. So it could be. I don't know an actual, sequence of numbers to tell you it's your last lifetime, but I do know that you are on one of your last lifetimes, and then it's your choice if you incarnate again as a human being, or as a, the spirit guides you, and
So I better make it a good one then this lifetime.
You make it. I say live every day like it's your last. I always do. If I ever get down, I say, if it was the last day, what would you be doing? And then I'd pull myself up out of it. Yeah. So it was my pleasure to give you a reading. So
thank you so much.
If you've ever got any other questions, just you can always leave a message on Shane's website, and we can all leave messages on the board for each other, can't we?
Yeah.
So,
I wish more people would use the forum. Yeah. I was like, man, this is private, and it's, it's a place that you can just kind of check every once in a while and just kind of catch up on stuff. And you can post links in there that, if it's a private link or something that you just want to share with the group, you can do it like that, and embed it or whatever. So yeah, it can be handy.
This evening.
Yeah. This has been awesome, you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you,
both of you. I love you both.
Kept you up too late.
Oh, no.
Yeah, don't be late. Thank you for you saying that, and Shane, you're lovely to give your reading to Nancy this week. That was very special.
Thank you,
and
Shane.
I'll get you next week.
Thank you, brother.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
No, it's my pleasure. Nancy totally deserves it.
Aww.
Thank you guys for that hung out in the chat with us for so long, and all you guys watching later. Lots of love and light. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Love and light.
See ya. Bye. 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 Bye.
Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.